Meeting with you was over at the that market over here in Vermont.
City Market,
That
yeah.
city market, that's right. I happened to run into you and I was like, wait a minute, where do I know him from? I was like, that's Dr. Bob Melamede. I know Dr. Bob. I've seen him on a million YouTube videos and research papers. I was like, I can't believe he's standing here in City Market. I was like, I got to make a move and introduce myself. And that's how we met. So that's how AKA Mr. Molecules met Dr. Bob Melamede. And that's where we are today. Not just the standard thing going on right now with the cannabis oils, and then everybody jumping on the bandwagon with the oils, and whether it's RSO oil being Rick Simpson oil, or is it the magical butter making oil, or do we just call it cannabis oil, which it is. I mean, I've listened to everybody with these long debates on whose oil is better and whose process is better, and let's use naphtha, no, let's use isopropyl alcohol, no grain alcohol. It gets to be kind of crazy.
When
So
you're in this business, what you learn for sure is that every grower knows that he grows the best pot.
I know of, and I'm working myself on trying to do an essential oil extraction from non-cannabinoid plants that have essential oils, things like rosemary, lavender, black pepper, hops, lemons, things like this. When they're extracted and combined with the cannabinoids, you now have a legal extraction that doesn't now make you a felon, whether you're a patient or not, and you can synergistically use those with the cannabinoid plant itself, and they seem to have a therapeutic effect. They seem to have several therapeutic effects.
Well, a lot of the flavonoids that come from the plants you've mentioned are actually all in cannabis.
Exactly.
It's amazing how much is in that plant, and depending on the strain, different things get emphasized. Certainly, that's why you have the broad variety of smells and tastes.
Exactly. So that's where my thoughts are, is that, people aren't aware of, I mean, I think they are aware of the extraction from the cannabinoids themselves can render them a felon by doing the actual extraction in some states. But I don't think everyone is aware that you can extract from different herbs, what I just mentioned, and use those extractions in combination to bump up your cannabis in different ways.
Beta
Drowsy.
one in particular looks like a very important one
Yeah,
because it's a direct agonist for the CB2 receptor, and there are certainly a number of circumstances where you'd like that to become more active.
sure, sure, without a doubt. I think, was it Ethan B. Russo, that he did a scientific research in 2011, and I think it was a study taming THC, where the
Really nice, and a lot of them are accessible to the normal mind
sure.
because they're talking more about history and plants. He's got some really good ones out there.
Yeah. Well, there's a company out there too now. I don't know if you're aware of it, but they're in California. They're called Pans Inc. and they make an essential oil that is a non-synthetic, all-natural oil, and you can purchase these oils and add it to your herbs, whether it be any type of herb, cigarette smoking, cannabis herbs, whatever it may be. They have three separate types right now. One is drowsy, to help you get into that sleep mode. One is a daydream, they call it, to promote like an anti-anxiety effect. And then they have one that promotes actual focus. And these are just really extractions of essential oils from some of these things that I had mentioned. And they do have a nice therapeutic effect, but they are, from what I understand, 100% legal. I mean, I have all the paperwork on them as a company with good practices, and all of what came back from the lab on their toxicology of what's in the actual essential oils, and it all came back looking really good. So I'm trying to get some research done in that direction where people will be able to use something that's really quite legal and not on the more black market, or we're going to extract this and end up with handcuffs on. I think that gives an open avenue to a lot of different things. I think it opens up the doorways to a lot of things that could be added to cannabis that I think if you really break it down, what you have is maybe some not so great cannabis that can be boosted up to some really great cannabis.
Well,
Just
what I hope will happen is that all the stupidity surrounding prohibition will end in the near future. It's reaching a tipping point, you know. And certainly out here in Colorado, it's such a pleasure to see, you know, every couple of blocks, in some cases four on one corner, dispensaries.
yeah, it's very
And
nice. I mean,
that
even
go in
even
and get their medicine or get their recreational because it's good for you, period. It's an anti-aging drug. It's good for you to consume cannabis.
exactly. So many people are so deficient in it. What's your famous saying they call, what do you call them? Blips?
And the flips, yeah,
I
all of
love that. Yeah, yeah, there's plenty of them walking around. But I have to say, Vermont has become, is slowly becoming very, very much around the same. It seems to me that, you know, we have four dispensaries that have come up now, and I think the ideology right now is that people are starting to see and get on board with that it's not that, you know, the devil's cabbage that they once thought that it was. I think that people
Well,
are,
a lot of people had access to the Sanjay Gupta specials.
oh, that blew things
That
right out of
turned
the water.
heads to make them understand that their ignorance and fear and paranoia is harming children. The very
Yeah,
children they're always talking about. What about the children? You
yeah,
know.
yeah, I know.
Understand we have about 200, you know, immigrants.
Yeah, displaced people that are there for one thing and one thing only, just to help their children, pediatric level. But once again, I think Vermont is in that aspect. It's starting to change a little bit too, and I hope that,
It seems like you have a sane governor, and I
yeah,
know some of the progressives have been pushing.
yeah,
You know, so you know the thing is, it's so absurd because it does so much. It's now understood that, but the problem is that there was a survey done this past summer. 13% of the medical schools in the United States mention the word endocannabinoid.
isn't that amazing?
So the most that you could have teaching anything would be 13%, but they were only asked if they mentioned the word. They don't have courses on it or anything like that.
That's
So
that's
here you
that's right.
have these doctors who are educated largely through the media,
Yes,
perpetuating the same old bullshit that has been spread for the past, you know, decades.
yeah,
So
it's
now that the people have taken control of it and have demanded the changes that have occurred, then the way things work always is bottom up, you know, it's
of
not top
course.
down. So as the people reach the critical point of knowing and understanding, and that's why, like you, I try to educate, because the truth, there's strength in the truth. And at this point,
Without a
all the
doubt.
science and all the patients and history all have one thing in common in terms of the benefits that cannabis has medicinally. And the only people out of whack are the government.
It seems to be that way, and I think that that's going to change too as well. Whether it's because they're on board for one reason or another, for me it doesn't matter. I don't really care as long as, you know, the end result comes for people that makes their lives a little bit easier and they can relax and not have to worry about things where they're going to be arrested or have to get in trouble for something like that you say is good for you and that does help the ailments that you do have.
June, I'm moving back to Vermont, to Burlington.
Now, are you going to be staying here, or is that just a visit? Or
I'm moving.
oh, that's great. Well, so hopefully we'll bump into each other more than a couple of times here and there.
Well,
That'd be great.
to, you know, spread the word here and
Yeah, without a doubt.
reactivate the
Well,
old Vermont Grassroots Party and reactivate my TV show, the Cannabis Cable Network.
I want to be on all of it. If you saw on the site, I have Pebbles Tribit. She's from Mendocino, California. She's with us, and she's an advisor. And Dr. Michelle Ross, she's an advisor as well. She's a neuroscientist. So that's why I reached out to you, because I want to put together a group of really good advisors, people that are, you know, really on board with what I'm on board with. That's education. Once you educate somebody, you know, then you've opened up Pandora's box, because it's all about learning. It's an addiction to learning once you open that box for people. Once they see the power and then they start to take in that knowledge, it's incredible how you can take somebody who at one moment really was about as dumb as a piece of driftwood and then within a week they come back to you with statements and things that like you would not believe. You would just not believe. And I think that is the key. I mean, empowering people through education, is definitely the key. And one of my friends here, he deals with the broadcast system as well. He used to have a cannabis show. Larry Phillips is a friend of mine.
I carried on his show, the Cannabis Cable Network.
Yeah, he has a website that we work together with as well. He has it's Vermont Compassion Centers, and he has a new site going up too that deals with herbs. It's an herbal site, and it'll be linked off of my site where you're an advisor on, and you'll be able to take a look at it there too. And hopefully we'll all get together and we'll be able to sit down as a nice big round table and discuss some of these topics and get some things done. It would be nice.
Well, spreading the truth, we will make things done because people are looking to feel better.
Yes.
And this is such a holistic method of getting better on so many levels simultaneously through the ingestion of this one magical plant that happens to tap into our endocannabinoid system that regulates everything in your body. So here you can, create new balances among everything.
Always great speaking to you. So glad to be able to finally pin you down. And hopefully when you get down here to Vermont, we'll actually sit down and have a cup of coffee.
All righty, buddy. You take care.
Good talking to you, Doctor.
Come on. Bye-bye.